avoid any tilt.
And this Hell's Heaven was a pretty tumultuous map for Navi when they went up against Heretics and they fell there at the end. So will they have a better game plan going up against the very best? We're going to find out here in Game 1.
EMEA's biggest names once again pitted up against each other. In Stage 1 of 2025, NAVI with a team that knocked Virtus Pro down and condemned them to no participation in mid-season finals. But here at the preseason, Virtus Pro are in a commanding position as our reigning world champions.
Both of them know that they have the best duelist in the game, and they cannot afford to give them the best duelist hero in the game either. It's going to be a gambit battle between the best of them, and Navi, they've had some good looks so far, but I'm really curious if the Mantis will be a focal point for either of these teams.
Seems like for now, the Elsa's going to be banned away from both sides. I imagine we're going to see a bit of a gambit mirror here. Raging Royal Flushes all over the place. Navi might go for that first protector on the Mantis. Definitely seems to be one of the identities being picked up by our top teams here. But Navi and Virtus Pro, you know what? It's El Clasico, so let's stick to the classics.
Exactly. We saw the Mantis be banned every time in the grand finals. Might as well just repeat it here. So taking their time on the Mantis ban, maybe trying to bait something out from Navi instead. And there's the Vanguard pool focus on their end.
I wonder if we're going to see double Rogue Protects come through here as the Vanguard pool is taken away. That's going to get rid of a little bit of Fincy's pool. It's going to be the one-sided Vanguard pool here, which we haven't. I don't think we've seen this tactic deployed against Virtus Pro just yet.
I think they know, though, that they either have to focus on, you know, the Mantis here specifically if they want to for Virtus Pro, or they also have to focus on that back line a little bit more. There is the Mantis going to go through instead, and I was waiting for it to come out, and I feel like the Vanguard pool ban is what forced them into that.
Yeah, do not want to be seeing a damage-boosted Vanguard pool. That much is for sure. There's the Rogue Protect. Rogue will be available for both sides now, though I don't know if Rogue works as well as a tandem Vanguard with a Vanguard pool. Like, that's when you usually see something like a triple Vanguard come out. I like this ban, potentially on the Star-Lord, getting rid of a Raging Royal Legend. That's going to be a big advantage to Na'Vi if they can get that up and running.
Pick your hero.
Really need to see Terra pop off on the Star-Lord. We've seen some middling results from them specifically, but the thing to note is that Daredevil went untouched, and Fi could opt for that specifically, but there's a couple different options as we see being hovered here. The Ultron, depending on the sub-map, has some good looks, and Sparker on the old faithful Psylocke. That'd be great to see.
I certainly would enjoy it. If the last series got you going, your energy's up, and you're ready to see some top-tier Marvel Rivals, you are in exactly the right place. Marvel Rivals Ignites pre-season's about to have its two preeminent teams butt heads in the winners' semis.
The only team in recent history to take a map off of Virtus Pro, and that was last year, was in the grand finals of Navi, and a bit of a different look there specifically. So Virtus Pro, they kind of have that in the back of their mind. They said even in their interview, not feeling as confident as they could with this meta, but they've been playing picture perfect. So imagine if they've been preparing even more so for this series against Navi after getting the footage of yesterday's hijinks.
What I'm interested in is whether or not Trust Me is going to be sticking on this thing. Might well move over onto the Rogue in order to keep that one going. They're just going to bubble everybody out here. Unlikely to stay. That looks like they might actually do so just to support this dive. Oh, the Sparker Psylocke with the Phi Daredevil.
Reminiscing from grand finals for that specifically, and now has the vision to know exactly the positioning of Team Navi, and one-sided at that. You should know to expect it from Phi at this rate.
Fincy beginning to erode for space, moves in towards the backline already. The Daredevil is in. They want level 1 Crook. Are they going to be able to grab him? Nice play from the White Fox to peel that one away. A Spirit Sanctuary is erected off the back of the TP, but Virtus Pro have advantage when it comes to the first cap of the point. Is there going to be movement here is the question. Jerky scares away Nevix temporarily, who doesn't quite have access to the team up yet. Gets taken down to the ground by a well-timed Cosmic Fastball. And now it's Fincy's turn to try and have a riposte. A turnaround once again. Purple, but the damage is too much for Trust Me to bear. The Sentinel Strike takes them to Pound Town, and now Fincy has to try and exit off the back of this one. Jerky taken down by a mutual stun, meeting the Rogue in midair at the back of the Feral Leap. Level 1 Crook caught in the corner, could well take themselves out with their own cards reflected from the shield, but Nevix is there for the finish now. Finally finds the opening, moves over onto the Vanguard Deadpool, and Virtus Pro took their time, but they capped the first.
this could be where the mistakes start to snowball for the ban phase from Na'Vi, giving Nevix one of the best rogue players in the game, best in slot hero, at least in this composition, and not really having someone to counter it on your side makes it that much more difficult for you to engage and actually disengage, because they're just going to chase you down every single time, and it's exactly what we saw with the double towards the end there.
Jerky's decided we don't want to deal with the Wolverining anymore. Instead, we're going to match up Daredevil versus Daredevil, which, trust me, scouts out the positions, looking towards the outside. Level 1 Crook going to have to match the Raging Royal Flush here. Cypher going to be run down by Trust Me, but there's enough healing here to make sure that Trust Me can't stay on target. 5 scares off multiple members of Na'Vi, but it's even trade so far. Not so much now, as all the healing for Na'Vi has been condemned to the grave for a moment longer. Jujo escapes from a sticky situation by tunneling under the map itself. Its Jeff will be expended, and now Fincy just spat out into the loving arms of his teeth. Oh.
Oh, throws the shield for some extra salt in the wound there as well. Virtus Pro continues to show their dominance on domination. I mean, they have experience. They've gotten the map win here on Hell's Heaven. Na'Vi, it's their nightmare that began against Team Heretics on this specific version of domination. So they have a couple things they need to change, but I think level 1 Crook being just left out to dry needs to be the biggest one.
Galactic Legend round the back, trying to track Sparker for now, but there's plenty of extra health being given over here by the Freedom Charge. Good answer here from Virtus Pro. Still Sparker's fallen down Saipe as well. Now Vincent needs to try and even it up, but guess who's teleported away? The Sentinel Strike at range has taken down Fate. And Trust Me, standing on business on the point, but Virtus Pro have counter-punched into the remainder of Na'Vi. It was such a good opening, but it feels like the closure's not going to be there. It's an unfinished ask.
Even with the Galactic Legend not able to get the eliminations that they want against Virtus Pro, who have been able to stay alive the longest out of any team in EMEA during their team fights, now it goes through.
The Devil to be unleashed. It's Jerky, followed by Trust Me. There's so much HP to try and work with, but Trust Me's had to stay on the point. They couldn't make Jerky go any further out as they are kited and destroyed. Na'Vi finally have control there. They start accruing percentage, but Virtus Pro are up in numbers and have the ability to... They can take their time with the cap here. There's so much room to work with. Trust Me, just having to stay on this point at all times. Wants to try and afford some aggression onto Saipe, but the remainder of the team aren't going to be there. It doesn't want to overextend to the midst of all this. Spark is disengaged, is waylaid by Rajro, and now forward momentum from Na'Vi will get it done. Level 1 Crook tries to get involved by themselves on the back of the Raging Royal Flush, but Saipe is going to be the one with that ultimate in the next fight.
It's been a while since we've seen Jerky put on the mask, but this might be the time for them to shine, go for those pulls off the map, and see if that will be enough to dispossess Virtus Pro, and they eventually are able to get the eliminations, team fight win, and get some percentage in their favor. But they want to be closer to a Fire Strays, take a point at least against them, because that's the only team who was successful thus far in the group stages to even take one.
Jerky's unlocked a new stand, but the question is it Jitwood or is it leg day on the Spider-Man over here? Rajro trying to chase after Sparker, manages to get the stun onto them. They've got the fully blasted Maelstrom as well to take care of them, and Terra's taking Nevix off the map in the midst of all of this. A great catch of the aggression. The kite is strong from Na'Vi, and Virtus Pro don't manage to flip the point.
Great hold from Na'Vi. Loving the distraction game too from Trust Me and Jerky. Terra also just waiting in the wings for the last stand. That could be their win condition against Virtus Pro, but Dredro does have the It's Jeff just for repositioning, but also for some massive mayhem crunch down against the competition.
Bouncer of Butterflies available for Sparker. We've seen it millions of times so far in this day. Can they overwhelm Fire? Yes. The backup wasn't there. The timing was off from Fincy, and now it has to be an all-out brawl on the point. Rajro just standing his ground. The Vanguards who come here are going to be in so much danger. It's Jeff temporarily grabs a couple of members of Na'Vi, but Fate has unleashed the Kumiho now, and Rajro can roll forward with a fully charged up Maelstrom. So many health bars brought low, but they're instantly refilled off the back of the movement from Fincy. A Freedom Charger Heartbreaker. All the auras right now from Virtus Pro are being unleashed upon Na'Vi, and do they have the aura to withstand this? It would seem that with Rajra having fallen down, it's not going to be the case. Jerky has to be the last one standing here. Nevix up on top of the White Fox. Gambit never folds is declared as it's Jerky moving towards the back. Can they take out Dredro up close and personal with the Spider Tracers? The Alpha Predator is going to be the Tarantula over the Great White Shark today. Fincy manages to avoid being taken down into the lava pit below, but Rajra has come back on the Angela Controller swings away with the axes of Icors. Fincy can't get any closer. It's close to overtime being taken over now as NAVI managed to flip the map once again. It's a last chance Saloon to come back through here. Dredro opens up the portal and Sparker has moved over on to the last moment Rocket Raccoon. A quick grab to try and keep these Vanguards in peril. But Virtus Pro have all the more that they need to keep this one contested. Cyber with the Bayou Bash brings Dredro down off the map. There's still a couple of players remaining. Jerky trying to chase in towards the back. And there goes Terra. Close up with the Wolverine. Dredro's managed to burn them down. Not just a strategist player. Trust me, the captain, the last one remaining. But there's no one else there to touch. NAVI was so close, but they can't reverse it.
Oh, so close, but not enough for them to take it. And I feel like a lot of this has to do with the way that we saw all the ults being dumped by Virtus Pro, which might not have been the best strategy from them at the start. Jerky did pull out, you know, the Ditward style Spider-Man and hoped that would be enough to focus down Dredro on the Jeff. But then as soon as the portal play came through, it was only able to happen because they still could not deal with Fi, who was just objection after objection, dealing with all the deflection of the damage, and just stayed on the objective as long as they needed to get that portal play to come through and eventually flip the script and that team fight at the end. So Virtus Pro, if they didn't get Fi on the point as long as he was at the end, NAVI would have had that point in their favor, and now they have to go back to the drawing board and see what comp will work for them here.
Take note, all the duelist players. The best duelist in the world, Sparker, goes over to Rocket Raccoon. You know, like when that portal opens and you need two strategists, you need two strategists. If you need Sparker to swap over to the second strategist for the healing, he does it, bro.
Also really liked the Rajaro Angela towards the end there too, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to focus them down as they went through the portal. Dr. Strange play was great as well. So NAVI a lot more flexible, it feels like, today in comparison, and Jerky actually the one who is on the Star-Lord this go around. Terra focusing still on that last stand. He's been holding on for a while.
White Fox certainly interesting. Last stand, it has stunned up Nevix, and the follow-through is going to be there. A bridge boost to heal up the remainder of NAVI, and then level 1 quick can turn their attentions elsewhere. Fine noted on the outside of the point, but is there really going to be any space to try and push forward onto this one? Nice feral leap. However, Fincy has only grabbed into their own team for now. Are they going to try and make the contest happen? Yeah, it's going to be a huge impact there from Fi, but they're made to pay for it. The anti-heal is delivered by the Gambit, and NAVI win first fight this time.
Great look from NAVI. Used minimal resources and were able to build up a lot of them too. But speaking of resources, Virtus Pro basically are going to have the full deck of cards available to them. Dredro swapping on over to the Invisible Woman, it seems, and that'll be to deal with the Terra Feral Leap specifically, and the dives that we've been seeing working out pretty well for NAVI.
Nevix won there by the Vibranium Energy Saw. Just a love tap from across the map, like, trust me. As Virtus Pro, they're still probing for these positions. They don't want to overcommit to this one. This is all about the positioning play, maybe just trying to get that extra little bit of charge for Saipei, and there it is. For Raging Royal Flush, ready to go, moving on to Rajaro. Can they try and rebuff this one? It's going to be level 1 quickly, tries to match it in towards the back. Jerky soon going to have access to the Raging Royal Legend, moving over towards the back. Can they find the strategist? There's so much extra health now being given over by Fincy, but Virtus Pro have lost their initiative now. They've had to back off in order to gather up around that beacon of freedom. Level 1 Crook is in close. The Kumiho's been unleashed. The stomps, the parades, they're all on top of Virtus Pro, and Drudro's had to use a less than ideal usage of the invisible boundary to try and keep everyone safe in that little pocket.
The Gambit all just unfortunately didn't work as well as they wanted. The Devil Be Unleashed is another level.
Oh, Fi's Devil is another level indeed. Sonic Pursuit ready to go, getting on top of Rajaro. Never stood a chance against the embodiment of justice that is Matthew Murdoch. A last second recontest from Trust Me, and this one's going to be flipped.
Always expect the right-hand man of the law to have swift justice delivered on a silver platter for Virtus Pro. A quad will take the rest of the percentage in their favor for Virtus Pro, but a lot of room was given to NAVI in that team fight. I think it had to do with Saipei initializing the engagement with the Royal Flush, and then unfortunately for them, they weren't able to get the eliminations as quickly as they wanted to, which allowed NAVI to build up their own strategist ult. So coming into this next one, Saipei will still have that advantage because there is no Loki on the other side for the copy, but again, it comes down to who is able to use their ultimates a little bit better.
Saipe forced to reposition, but that bio dash is going to be up. Cooldown soon. There goes for last stand, trying to get on top of those trenches, but it's a nice dodge away from Saipe. Now has access to a Raging Royal Flush. Full members are going to get it. The ball didn't even know what hit him, and while there is going to be a quick debuff coming forth, courtesy of the Ban Hammer, Saipe just holds his fire and allows the rest of Virtus Pro to do the talking.
This Vi Daredevil needs to be dealt with in some capacity in the ban in the future. You just can't let this man, who really was the one to innovate with this during the Grand Finals LAN, have one of his best heroes. And you could just see the vision that works out so well. Navi not even wanting to go toe-to-toe with it, realizing that they are the server admin here. And Vinci also doing a great job with the Freedom Charges, using that to shut down the Galactic Legend in one of the previous team fights, and also just keep themselves aware and constant poke damage.
Raging Royal Legend, Invisible Boundary is going to be the answer here. Finzi coming remarkably close to their ultimate to try and rebuff this as well, but Fate's in there stomping. Trust me's already down. Jerky's so up close and personal. It's an all-out brawl that you can see from above. The Devil let out here by Fi as Finzi falls incredibly low. All of the damage is going Fi's way, and it seems like the counter punch is going to be there. Sparker 25% away from having access to their ultimate. Oh, Fate is nasty with the flicks. Bro has learned the White Fox in record time.
The KO box was unleashed by Navi. They baited them out, and it was a Jackbox surprise for them. The Jester was the one to bait them in, and White Fox will be the one to claim the corpses of their opponents. But Virtus Pro, they will get the portal play through and try to re-engage.
Sparker almost ready with the Dance of the Butterflies. Trust me's already popped the Freedom Charge. They think he's going to be isolated here by Terra. Can they manage to escape? No. Terra manages to take down the Doctor Strange, and Nevix has gone down too. All the Vanguards are gone. Trust me is marauding in the back, and he's found himself some well-deserved loot in the form of Saipe's Gambit. Virtus Pro have themselves evened up against here. This is the match that was promised.
Exactly what we are hoping to see from Navi. The composure is on a different level compared to yesterday. Maybe they let Terra out from the attic. Is what we saw after the interview there. Got him to go get some sunlight and touch some grass, and then maybe able to recharge as much as they needed, or a nice steak dinner. Who knows? Whatever it is, keep doing it, because it is working so far. And Terra, I love the patience of waiting for the engage on the team fights with the last stand. We saw it happen a couple of times and make it so that a key member of Virtus Pro has been missing in most of these engagements, and that's where Virtus Pro have not felt as comfortable as they could have been. So even though they usually have the edge in the strategist lineup and the Royal Flushes, sometimes they aren't able to capitalize, especially when they try to dive fully in and Fate and just go to melee form and just heal with their claws as best as they can.
I'm incredibly jealous of someone who gets to watch this in slow motion with the ability to pause. So much good Marvel Rivals is happening right now that I can't even take it all in.
Well, I'm here to help you digest it at least, and I'm sure the viewers at home are definitely feasting with our final two series of EMEA, and there's already more America's action coming up later on as well, but Saipe will be the one to keep an eye on how fast they can get this ultimate. Speaking of,
all right, trying to gather up here to share out the damage from the Dance of a Butterfly thus far from Navi. It's been some great democratization. Oh, Sparkus Raw Mechanics is just the big difference maker, though. Five's going to take it down on the other side. Yet another dodge. Sparkus is nasty on the sticks, man. Managing to dodge that one, and Terra can't quite get the finish over onto Finzi either. Ready to move forward. Guess who's got extra damage? The Raging Royal Flush. Sparkus actually lost their target, but pivots over onto Fate instead. And now they turn around onto Trust Me. A little bit late with the counter punch here from level 1 Crook. They're going to try and make it work. Oh, Saipe doesn't need a buff, man! He just runs them down in a neutral, books them with the stick. You don't have a talking stick. You don't have a talking stick. It's time to shut up.
A tough spot to be in for Navi. I feel like they wasted their ultimates there and gave up too many resources in that first engagement. They know how crucial it is to win the first team fight on this final point, but they just put too much into it, and they're going to be playing catch up for so long now.
Jerky. Close to the Galactic Legend. Dredro can answer it here. You might be happy to just force out Dredro's ultimate, knowing that it's going to be a while before you can match any kind of Gambit amplification Jerky threatens the off angle, and now it's going to be going after Saipe. There's going to be the invisible boundary. The question is, can Jerky survive this one? There's so much flare going their way, but now Fate has for second ultimate. The Kumiho ready to be unleashed from the wide angle here. We can see that Finzy's taking a bunch of damage and needs to return to their strategist. Sparker over the top, close to having access to their ultimate. Does have access now to the dance of a butterfly. Stops Terra in their tracks. Level 1 Crook equally victimized here as Fi just runs through the backline. The Billy clubs become bully clubs.
Not able to focus on Fi's flank enough, and really just going to show how having that extra vision is so crucial in these team fights and kind of the bunker styles that you can flank around on this specific sub-map. So Frozen Airfield doing it pretty good for these teams, but Virtus.pro seem to be having a strong edge on the competition, and the comp just maybe not working out as well as Navi would like it to. Still have not found an answer to this hold.
Rolling forward, Raging Royal flush. Terra's already down, having swapped over on to the Punisher. Someone's going to have to teleport back rather quickly here, but this is what Na'Vi wanted. A quick fight loss. They just can't afford to have their TP interrupted.
We'll see if the TP interrupt comes through. Level 1 Crypto is going to get majorly staggered, so even if the teleport does happen, they're going to have to wait some time for both of their strategists to get involved and hope to hold on for now.
4 seconds until the ult is available from level 1 Crook. Terra quickly heals on up, and now level 1 Crook has to move out and use the hand. It needs to be dealt upon the remainder of Na'Vi. Everyone gets a little bit of additional damage. Can Virtus.pro weather the storm is the question. There are so many ults to try and deal with. There's still going to be the bad hammer coming through as well. Trust me, ready to try and counteract this as well with the strangling prison. But everyone's still inside of Dreedro's invisible boundary. The strategists from Virtus.pro are feeling moisturized, unbothered, and they're in their lane, and their lane looks a lot like Hell's Heaven right now. Na'Vi get 100 to 11 here on Hell's Heaven, but damn did they make VP work for it.
Second ever team in the preseason to take a point on domination against this Virtus.pro roster, so they can't be understated, but you know they wanted more than that. They wanted the entire map to be the first squad again to do it against the best in the world. Unfortunately, the best in the world was given one of the best duelists and have the best duelist in the game, Sparker, on the Psylocke. Even if you ban out the rest of his hero pool, it does not matter. He will still pull out the old faithful, and well, we see exactly why. 10 final hits, but Fi, in my mind, is my MVP, especially with the flanks that we saw, taking out the back line, and also just popping off with the let the devil out here and there, and it just didn't seem like there was an answer from Na'Vi against the pressure they were facing by this duelist lineup.
32k damage is disgusting, by the way.
Yeah.
Send this man to prison or something. Imprison him in the tube in Super Soldier Factory and send him under the map, because that is abhorrent to behold. Good performance here from Rajaro, actually popping off when it comes to the damage from the Vanguard pool. I think the one-sided Vanguard pool was a good gambit here for Na'Vi. I wouldn't mind seeing that a little bit more as we dive deeper into this series. But now Na'Vi are going to get their own choice of map. They're going to be able to take Virtus.pro. Maybe they'll try and elicit some bad memories in Virtus.pro and take them to Hall of Shalia, where they first stick a map off of them.
Could be the case. Could go a Central Park, because we did see Virtus.pro get pushed pretty far on that map previously, so could happen as well. There's a couple of different options, but speaking of Central Park, I mean, Na'Vi have their own bad memories about that against Shikigami, and you know Virtus.pro have been studying the record books of their matchups ahead of this one, so Na'Vi gave it their all. They got 1 point. Second ever team, of course, as I mentioned, next to Fire Strays, but they want to prove they are better. They already beat that team earlier on in the playoffs, and now they need to find some way to make Virtus.pro bleed even more.
Well, last time these two teams met, it was at the Grand Finals over in Atlanta, and it was, if I remember correctly, a 4-1. Na'Vi were not coming out on the right side of that one, and Virtus.pro seem to have not missed a step since then, but Na'Vi have had time to grow, time to improve, time to integrate a world-class DPS in the form of Terra as their duelist. So the world is their oyster as they decide which map we're going to go to.
There's a couple of different options that they can have for this one specifically, but I think regardless of what Virtus.pro are sent to, they're going to be feeling confident about it, right? There's only a few maps they haven't played so far: Symbiotic Surface, Hall of Dajalia, specifically Spider Islands, Araco, or Museum. Museum seems to be kind of a favorite here for the side of Na'Vi, so maybe we'll be going there and exploring the exhibits, but we'll find out what our next map pick is going to be after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way. Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
is on. 1,000 gods!
Ooh, you could just tell with that first map going to round 3 that we're in for a marathon and not a sprint. Navi were just so close, but no cigar. But, you know, VP, they still got it leg day. And that's why their drafts are just that strong. You just can't ban against them, especially Fi and Sparker. You've heard of Jack of all trades, but they really are the master of everything.
Yeah, like before the season, we had a graphic from, I believe, Roman on Twitter, who had the average age of all of our teams, and VP was well up at the top with like 25 or so, but these guys are kind of just maturing with age. They're like the old Kung Fu master, you know? They've just got more and more dangerous as time goes on. Spark are dropping 32k damage in the neutral as Psylocke is absolutely disgusting. And that's one of the reasons why we constantly have to see Navi strategists turn around to either patty cake or really just give someone a cuddle when they have to retreat. It's like, oh, Spark hit me a lot. I need a bunch of heals, please.
Yeah. And I feel like we're still waiting to see like what Terra's carry is going to be, because I thought it was like going to be the Star-Lord that gets banned. He's trying to find what works, and Sparker and Fi, they've got a deck of cards and a lot of aces up their sleeve. But Navi did look improved compared to yesterday, Audible.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like we talked about composure going into this matchup, it feels like they've locked in there specifically, and you have to against the best in the world, right? They have more experience against this team too, and I feel like that helps be more of like a comfort battle. They scrim against each other all the time because they are the two top teams, or were at least up to this point in EMEA. And now going into a Museum of Contemplation, this is an interesting pick specifically, I would say, for Na'Vi, because it's a comfort pick for them because every time except yesterday they won it. And I feel like this is not necessarily a salty run back, but it might be, because you could tell Tara in the interview was saying like, we should have won that map, and now they want to do it again against the best in the world.
And like that, we heard from Oasis in our previous interview from Heretics that Na'Vi struggled. They noticed that struggle yesterday, and we casted this map leg day. Like, our memories aren't that, we're old, but we're not that old. Like, we saw those struggles live. Like, Na'Vi, for me at least, it was like a macro management thing. Like, certain positions, we were talking about how many times they were held hostage.
Yeah, like their off angles were being very effectively split by Fire Strays, and if they go for these audacious off angles again, Virtus Pro are a team with like competent enough top-down management that they might be able to like really dig their claws into the kinks in the armor once again. So we need to see Na'Vi, if they're gonna take these aggressive off angles, they need to up the tempo. They can't allow Virtus Pro to dictate what's happening in these split fights. That's what happened against Fire, and it meant that we had these constant stalled fights where like 2 players would be left alive on the flank with no real means of reconnecting with their team.
And this is Navi's choice of map. I mean, they get to kind of bounce back from yesterday, Vaudable. It's a lot easier to work on a map that you've just lost and you know what those mistakes are. So you think those improvements are going to follow through today?
I think they will. I think the biggest worry, though, is because you've played this map so much in the preseason. Like I said, Virtus Pro are one of those teams who does their homework, and this is the one that they've played the most in terms of Convoy. They played Araco once, and they played this one 4 times.
And maybe Virtus Pro not so much, but who can beat them on a map? That's what I want to know. Navi, we're just that close, but can they get to the finish line this time? This is the time to do it on Game 2.
Perfect run still here for Virtus Pro. Meanwhile, Na'Vi have been through the ringer. Mostly wins thus far with the exception of versus Team Heretics. And they certainly show that they have the gumption to bring it to Virtus Pro on Hell's Heaven. But now that we are on their playground, we are hoping to see a distinct improvement from yesterday.
Composition might be the way that they go about it. Probably have some sort of strategy against Virtus Pro, especially because they have so much experience on this specific map. Maybe see some Venom play coming out. We've seen a lot of that early dive in that first point hold. And a lot of teams try to focus so much on the initial hold, but it's interesting too, in preseason, for those who aren't aware, if you lose, you can pick the side and the map. So Na'Vi opting for the attacking end first and hoping they can go the distance where they couldn't last time.
Once again, going to be a Gambit versus Gambit setup. And I'll be very interested here to see if we see that Invisible Woman being taken away. There's been a lot of emphasis on the Rogue for Virtus Pro. You know what? This would be an interesting ban. The Captain America.
Ooh.
Taking that out of the hands of Fincy. Maybe hoping that it would be harder to like partner up with a Rogue without the huge mobility that comes through from a Captain America.
I also think the double ultimate acceleration as well, right? Like having that on the table really worked out well for them, and they didn't opt for the Loki for some reason. Loki might be an option for them here, though, to go for the double Royal Flush, and I think that is going to be the option, especially if Navi aren't going to ban it.
I saw a potential Daredevil ban. Yep,
Okay, there we go.
this one over the thing would be ideal. I don't think we can fully ban out Fincy's hero pool because, well, when all of this is gone, like, Fincy's just going to rotate back over to the Vanguard Deadpool. That's as easy as it comes. On the side of Virtus Pro, they do still have access to that Invisible Woman, which means that they don't have to ban out the Star-Lord. Even though Virtus Pro did quite effectively rebuff those Galactic Legends previously using the Freedom Charge when it was against the Raging Royal Legend buffed up by the Gambit. The Invisible Boundary was their tool of choice.
Terra also, on this map specifically, does opt for a variety of heroes, right? Sometimes they've been able to get the Elsa available, but otherwise they do play the Namor. So we could see that come out again. We've seen the Ultron from them as well. There's a couple of different options, but I definitely respect the Wolverine ban. We saw how lethal Terra was with it in the last map.
This might also allow Fincy to just walk it down mid on Doctor Strange here without having to worry too much about being grabbed by the Wolverine, because you're going to have Dredro available with the team up, courtesy of the Invisible Woman. So Fincy can kind of just stand on business and eat everyone until he gets his ultimate, which won't take very long.
Having the Invisible Woman specifically, too, is going to be huge for the force physics, making it so that you won't feel as much pressure from the dives of Na'Vi. I mean, trust me, it typically does go for that Venom play on this map specifically from what we've seen, and it's worked out very well for them. That's always their option. And I'm kind of more surprised that they left it open to Na'Vi, but they're probably feeling confident that they have their own counters to it, especially with this old, tried and true Vanguard line of Virtus Pro with Fincy on the Doctor Strange and Nevix on the Groot. My goodness.
Sparker's low-key got a pretty nasty Rocket Raccoon in him as well. Like, the solo duelist of Phi on the Wolverine is really going to make things a little bit more hard going for Na'Vi. They're going to have to check a lot of corners for a second that they realize that Wolverine could be waiting.
And this is the first time VP have actually been taken to Museum of Contemplation, so whole different ball game for them specifically. But Terra is going to be in a world of hurt.
Like, what even took Bro down? There's like no poke on the Virtus Pro team.
I think it's
what
the wall.
got him?
Oh, he dove over the wall and then got a face full of cards, and unfortunately had to sit in timeout for a few moments. But it's not how you want to start out your map pick.
Wait, did he instantly swap over to the Moon Knight? Interesting. Okay, guessing when you see you're up against this triple strategist, you just want to try and build a very quick ultimate. Already 50% of the way there. So, trust me, he's been temporarily grabbed. And, well, landing in the midst of Virtus Pro is a very dangerous place to be. Great movement, though, from Trust Me to get out of that one with their life intact. But you can see that Fire is already angling for yet another kidnap. Won't have another jump pack this time around, though. A ban hammer taken towards the back. Jerky trying to make something happen towards that strategist line. But as you try and play against these walls, things become incredibly complicated. Now Fincy could just walk forward, ready to once again blast off with the Dark Maelstrom. And it's not just Lemon and I who are blasting off again. It seems like Na'Vi are doing exactly the same.
Oh, Navi are having flashbacks to their series against Fire Strays, and the jetpack is available for Fi, and they will go for more and more Pharaoh Leaps and more doom and destruction against Navi. But Terra does have a hand of Khonshu, and we'll hope that can be used to walk forward with their team.
Okay, yet again, another big grab onto Trust Me. I think there might have been an interception there to free Trust Me from the grip as Vinci rolls on forward, has access to the Eye of Agamotto now, can emerge unseen from the invisible boundary. Great cleanse coming through. They need to try and get the stun onto the Gambit. It's exactly where it needs to be. Can Vinci find the finish here? No, the peel is good from the side of Na'Vi. A clobbering time onto Vinci. Purple given over to the vulnerability has made sure that Vinci falls, but he gets right back up thanks to a battle recall beacon, and they need to look towards Fi once again playing these corners. It's going to be waylaid temporarily by Rajaro, but all of these walls coming up behind the thing means that healing is difficult to deliver. And despite the frags grabbed here by Na'Vi, Virtus Pro have barely allowed the objective to move. Now it's down to Fate rolling forward. All of the ultimates are invested here. Sparker's Seer does not last for long as Sparker's forced to disengage. Last stand across the map. Fi will get Terror, but not much more than that. Fincy's still holding this point hostage, by the way, allowing for everyone else to come on back. It's Saipe in the back. Fi's had their passive pops rolling in towards the Luna. The peel is going to be there.
That was chaos incarnate between both of these teams, and eventually Navi ending up as the winner of this team fight. But so much stall from Fincy with the Doctor Strange on the point that people just forgot he existed there for mere moments as the portal play comes in.
Drudro almost once again has the ultimate ready to go, but this Heartbreaker is afflicting so many members of Virtus Pro that Finzy has to dip on out to give a little bit of healing else. But you can see that Drudro, having been safe behind the portal, has not been grabbed by the Heartbreaker. Still level 1 Crook is getting it done by themselves. Nevix manages to get revived, but I'm not sure if they want to be coming back to this party. You know what? Just actually leave me on the other side. I was good.
I feel like Navi might have baited Virtus Pro into thinking, oh yeah, they don't really have anyone who's playing Rogue too much. We saw it towards the end of Hell's Heaven, but apart from that, not at all. So Trust Me gets it for free out of the ban draft. They focus on the Wolverine instead, and he's really been a difference maker with these Heartbreakers.
Invisible boundary. Good to go here for Dredro, but what do you try not to? It's got to be the Raging Royal Legend. Dredro already being debuffed. Level 1 Chris getting on top of them. Oh, it's the perfect focus onto Sparky. Yes, but Dredro's managing to survive this one. Great play off the back of that. And now Saipe thinks they can win it in a 4 versus 6. It's a brave ult here from Saipe. I don't know if it's going to work out because Fincy's already been overextended. Has access to the Eye of Agamotto, but he's just being ran over here by the Vanguards. A rare misplay from Virtus Pro. And Fincy's going to try and turn it around. A singular stun onto Trust Me. The headshots are good to go, but it might well be that the Na'Vi still get all of the room that they need for this car. The disengagement of Rajaro stopped by the wall. Virtus Pro play the long game and come out on top.
Sparker back onto a normal, regularly scheduled hero for them on the Phoenix instead of the Rocket Raccoon, and immediately turns things around in their favor. So no more triple strategist for Virtus Pro, and it seems to be working out a lot better. We saw similar issues between teams trying to rely on it a little bit too much in the past, and this is the time to go in.
Moving forward with the plushie, can Fincy be isolated? There's so much melee damage going his way that cannot be mitigated. Drew got another ultimate already. This guy's absolutely nutso, by the way. That's so much healing, and Sparker brings all the damage down on top of Terra's head. Was so close to yet another ultimate towards the back. That was quite the delivery that Fire attempted. Taking down, trust me, Fincy has no mercy in his heart. Level 1 Crook didn't even know what hit him.
The triple last stand was immaculate from Fi, stunning out a lot of the Navi players and resetting them so they can't even push this last few meters into the second checkpoint. And Virtus.pro know any extra space they give to Navi, they will take a mile. So they have to stop them here and now if they want to win this map and not drop a single one going into those winners finals or even the grand finals of this preseason.
Raging Royal Flush could be answered here by the Raging Royal Legend. Can Terra find Saipe is the question. Fi's already lost out on their passive. The remainder of Virtus.pro have nowhere to go. Terra's just managing to hunt them down. Fi noted on the backslide. And with Fincy and Saipe still behind, it's going to be very difficult to try and TP back in the midst of all of this. Nice finish onto Saipe. That's going to make this uncontestable. What a fight by Na'Vi.
Sparker now remembering that, hey, they didn't ban my Star-Lord either, so we can match you in composition, but also have Fi on the back line trying to deal with the strategist and maybe even take out the... Oh, we might see a portal play here, actually. Okay. I'm interested to see what their strategy is for this one, trying to see if they can get a pick off of it.
Okay, just trying to play it directly, knowing that there's not really much use portaling towards the end of this point. Fincy already taken down. Trust me, is looking like a different beast on the road compared to yesterday. Has to make sure they can't get kidnapped through the portal. And Nevix without their... Oh, you can see that Fire's just peeking out behind it. Come in, come in. It'll be fun.
They know they can't overextend. We've seen that mistake made by Na'Vi in the past, and I'm loving Rajaro here on the portal specifically. Or not the portal, it's the Doctor Strange. Having the portal play eventually if they do need it. Like... having it like locked down if they need it at the end of it, but also speaking of locking things down, trust me, he's doing just that.
Everyone just placed into the corner, and trust me, kicks through them all, gets grabbed by the Wolverine, but this is just an opening for Jerky now. Knowing that there's no Feral Leak to try and contain them, has access to the Banhammer, really wants to try and find one of the strategists. Jujo's going to be the primary target, forces out the invisible boundary, and now who's caught within? It's going to be Rajaro. Yes, he can TP back if he wants to, but the remainder of Na'Vi is still around to fight this one out if they so desire. With few ults on their side, though, it's just going to be a quick back off.
A good stop so far by Virtus.pro towards the end, and this is the hardest journey for any team to take on Museum of Contemplation, trying to get that third checkpoint. But if Na'Vi can do it, they'll be set up as best as possible to take down Virtus.pro and give them their first ever map loss. Again, as a reminder for those at home, Virtus.pro have not played Museum of Contemplation in this new season and meta, at least in professional play outside of Scrim, so we'll see how it goes.
A pair of Raging Royal Legends. Are they going to be used here is the question. Can Saipe be hunted down? Terra's on the hunt. Sparker for now just hiding away. Doesn't want to reveal themselves inside of this little cubby. Looking to be the last note in this symphony and be the closing chord to the song. Terra looking out for their counterpart as they see from above that the damage is coming in. Nice snowflake healing coming on through. It seems like the majority of Na'Vi have managed to just keep Sparker at bay for the moment. The initiative to Na'Vi has served them well as Saipe is noted on the off angle. But for now, all of that pressure is going to be going towards their Vanguards, who might be in a position to try and challenge out this point. A passive pop from Fi as they take multiple players into the spawn. In comes the Iron Megamotive. A stun is good. That's going to be Fate shutting that one down. Rajaro gets stunned out of their own clobbering time, down to 50%. And while Trust Me was ready to break some hearts, it's his own cardiac arrest that he needs to worry about. In comes the invisible boundary from Dredro. And while Virtus.pro may have temporarily been on the back foot, it's the coup de grace from Fi and Dredro that puts it to bed.
Little less than 7 meters to go to try and get to the final hour of point 3, but Virtus.pro will be able to hold at the end of it. Now it comes down to the Na'Vi defensive strategy. Can they stop the best team in the world with a composition that they realize, hey, we have all this available. We have Nevix that can play the Rogue. We have Sparker who can play the Star-Lord. Why have we not been playing this to this point? We even have the invisible boundary from Dredro's Invisible Woman. Now realizing, hey, we have some of these heroes that have been working. Why don't we just go back to it? And it worked out at the end.
The one side, the Invisible Woman is actually having so many knock-on effects to this mirror match as well.
Truly.
It means that as a secondary kidnap, when Fi brings someone in, you can force physics them when they try and use their utility or their movements to try and escape from that. You're able to win out pretty well on the off-angle duels between your hit scans by giving over that Guardian shield. The thing that Na'Vi had, which they haven't really utilized yet, is the one-sided Mantis. And that's why we're seeing Jerky move along now. This is going to allow Terra to get into another one of these hyper carry positions we saw yesterday.
Also interesting to note, we've been seeing a lot more EMEA play in the preseason playoffs in comparison to the actual group stage. And I feel like a lot of that's to rely on the anti-dive. You can go into your diamond form, especially when Fi is trying to go for those grabs. And the Carbon Crush is massive if you can get control of that diving Wolverine in time.
Quincy, just raising the shield up here. It seems like it's going to be a little bit of a further back hold from Na'Vi as they want to find space to draw in Virtus Pro, so that, trust me, has easy access to their backline.
Still waiting to see the results of Navi's composition change, but the Rogue is going to be getting their own diamond form and going in.
Oh, the diamond form looks good, and the damage looks even better. Oh, buffed up by the stolen assets of Emma Frost. Well, there might be a momentary stall here from Trust Me. This fight is already curtains.
Maybe not the best decision to go out against a Rogue when you're playing Emma Frost, but it does come back to bite them there, and so much room given to Virtus Pro in time, and there needs to potentially not be a portal play. Okay, they're just going to straight up walk towards the objective, and there's a portal cancel from Vinci, trying to just stop them from moving towards the objective.
Fi already having used their damage reduction. That might be an important cooldown that's not available later as Na'Vi coalesce themselves towards the point here, walking them down with a big old dark maelstrom. Fincy was unable to afflict every member, though. Is only halfway towards this. Maybe an overextension from Nevix. Oh, nice shot from Jerky. That's the opening that Na'Vi were looking for. As Fincy stunned elsewhere, the invisible boundary is drawn on up, but Na'Vi being triple strategists, they don't quite have the same generation that Dredro does. Level 1 Crook needs to make a decision. Do they try and play into this with the extra ultimates? Yeah, they're going to go for it. For Raging Royal Flush is invested. Saipe's ready to counter-strike if they so desire. Holds on to it. Now plays for the second one. And level 1 Crook is going to be chased out as Spark is buffed on up with the Raging Royal Legend. And he carves through Vanguard, flesh, bone, and all of that alike. Fate noted on the other side. Out comes the potential for a quick eat off the back of its Jeff. Can they be stymied, though, by Sparker trying to hold off the exit? That's going to be Nevix taken down. Couldn't swing back in time. Sparker still in the back. Can you find the Spark? It would appear that Fate is indeed found it, and Na'Vi a miraculous hold at the end of first.
They heard what we were saying, that you know, maybe he's not the best Jeff player in the world. Well, he was bobbing and weaving like the best of them in between the boundaries and able to still get the elimination onto Nevix and forcing them to swap back. A beautiful play there by Na'Vi to hold right before this first checkpoint. A lot of time wasted.
Offensive falling low. Soul Resurgence ready to go from Jerky. Could be a good answer to some incoming stuns of the Doctor Strange. Trust me, playing it a little bit frontline heavy right now. Rajro isolated, bringing up the shield to cut off the healing. Rajro's already down. A perfect execution from Virtus Pro. Dredro once again has access to this ultimate. He's essentially lapped Jerky so far, but look at all of this overhealth, both for symbiotic shenanigans and the Soul Resurgence. Terror from the top has taken down Fi, who's taking a turn on the signature character of Sparker. But into this massive flesh, Dredro's psionic plays are just going to be so valuable. In comes the reinforcement portal. That one's going to be Rajro's, while Fincy's is still on cooldown from their earlier tricks of the trade. In comes the Raging Royal Flush. Sparker and Saipe moving towards the back. The punishment's not going to be there. Fate is not bobbing and weaving. He's mogging as best he can, but Sparker still is able to find everything they want. Terra's come back on the Iron Fist. Makes sense when you're against something like a Doctor Strange, but Virtus Pro, they can't be stopped from taking first.
As much time as possible, though, is what Na'Vi were hoping for on that first objective, and they got it. The question is, will it be enough towards the end? Still so much available to Virtus Pro, resource-wise, to take this next fight, especially the Galactic Legend available to Sparker, and Nevix having their own Heartbreaker ultimate. Trust Me could potentially use the Feast of the Abyss, but not many strategist ults aside from their own Royal Flush available to Na'Vi.
It could be amplified here by Crook as well. Still has access to a Raging Royal Flush, but difficult to get your claws onto Fi, who's now going to be playing the Ultron up in the sky, constantly peppering down those Encephalo rays. Virtus Pro, they love their muggings from behind the cart. They just burst out from behind it. Speaking of bursting, Nevix bursting forward now with the Heartbreaker. Multiple members of NAVI start to lose out on their ult charges. They have lost out on a little bit of initiative here. Level 1 Crook, fairly untouched on this angle, is going to be able to use the bridge boost to hold up some disparate players. And Fate has taken over the duties of the Mantis here. Has instead allowed Jerky to move over onto the Ultron, using the rage of it in order to heal up their Vanguards. They need to get a rescue onto level 1 Crook, however. Oh, inside of the invisible boundary, it's just so easy for Sparker to find their targets. And once again, it feels like the one-sided invisible woman has been such a boon for Virtus Pro.
Especially having the team up available to Virtus Pro, right? Fincy's just been enabled so much, and now using another counter portal play, seeing if they can use this to section Navi off from the objective so they can even move forward, but take a little bit too much time. Do get them split off from their strategists, and this is going to be a tough spot to be in.
Oh, the bullying right there onto Rajaro. Never got a chance to even control his character, but trust me, he's done a good job of stalling this one out. Symbiotic Resilience used. Can it be burned through by the remainder of Virtus Pro, though? They can't afford on the side of Na'Vi to lose out on this one, especially with that Feast of the Abyss ready to go. The constant trolling on the objective, moving towards the back line. They really want the Vanguards, but Saipe instantly cleanses the debuff, and now rolling forward with the Blaster Barrage. The damage from Sparker is undeniable, and Na'Vi have managed to rebuff it. They just disengage, utilizing Fate's Soul Resurgence. Virtus Pro a little bit lower on their resources now, and they recapture the cart.
That was a beautiful disengage and Soul Resurgence just to make Sparker's ultimate a moot point. So good counteraction here, but Sparker already has 60% to the next one, so they're not too worried about it due to that ult acceleration from the Raging Royal Flush. Phi has theirs almost online, and Dredro, I feel like this invisible boundary might be the one to potentially win them this next fight. Roger, though, needs to shut somebody down massively with this banhammer, and trust me, MVP in my mind, stalling the cart as best as they can.
Early dive on Saipe could be everything. You can see the antis came through as well. They desperately want Nevix, but they've actually managed to section off Fincy, who draws up the shield of a Seraphim to make sure that everyone else is in a good position. A pair of Raging Royal Legends already used. Spark is going to be under pressure here, but Terra has to access the invisible boundary, and as you leave it, you're slowed, so you've got no chance to escape. Saipe is so quick when it comes to drawing the cards. This guy deals me in, and he's going to be dealing Na'Vi some real heavy blows on their defensive second.
Out-meching Na'Vi in that team fight, and then some. Last-ditch portal effort, though, to stall it out before that second checkpoint and force the overtime victory for Na'Vi.
Fires the ultimate ready to go. A Dance of Butterflies in the Sky could really shut down the Rage of Ultron. Can Jerky survive? It is the question. Managed to keep up in the sky. Na'Vi have all 6 members remaining, but Nevix has been overextended and punished for their arrogance. Rajaro with yet another upgrade. Moving in now onto Fincy, who has to stay on the cart close and personal during the overtime. Dredro's got the off angle. Fincy almost has the Eye of Agamotto. Does he have the hero play within him to try and make something work here? No stuns are delivered, and Fincy's taken down for it. A symbiotic shenanigan to try and turn things around, but without their gambit, things are going to be very difficult. Once again, Saipe is going to lead the way forward. An attempt at its Jeff Eats. Trust me, desperately needs to try and grab something off the back of a Feast of the Abyss, but can't chop down before it's over. Saipe continues to try and chase down the last remaining players as Nevix's Heartbreaker is a warding call that Na'Vi cannot move forward. Finally, the return of the gambit here from level 1 Crook, but it's still so far from having their ultimate available. Terra's turned up on the Iron Fist to try and keep things stalled, but Na'Vi are all out of juice and they're all out of mulligans. It's got to be the 3rd point.
Na'Vi knew towards the end there that it was unfortunately a last-ditch effort that didn't work out as well as they were hoping it would. Still a lot of time wasted, forcing the overtime, and only a minute and some change available to Virtus Pro. But look at those ultimates and the difference between these two. Saipe has been able to build up the Royal Flush so much faster, it feels like, than level 1 Crook, based on the positioning of Virtus Pro and how aggressive they've been playing. But this Raging Royal Flush and Galactic Legend combo is going to take some time to get back online.
Rage of Ultron going to be easily counted out here by Sparker. Jerky just doing his best to peek in temporarily. It's going to give a big advantage to Tero when his is active, but you still got to worry about that invisible boundary. It feels like Dredro has never been forced to use it in an unoptimal position. His decision-making is sublime, trust me, with a soft dive, and there is this constant stoppage of the cart here from Na'Vi. They're trying to burn down the timeout because Virtus.pro already down to only 30 seconds. Oh, what a great pick onto Sparker there. Fate's already been taken down there. The down to the butterflies in the back is a little bit problematic, and Fire can't escape the aftermath of their own ultimates. Saipe has to decide whether or not they want to try and commit to this one, but with no teammates remaining, they can't send in the Raging Royal Flush. 17 seconds on the bank.
Huge play by Terra on the Galactic Legend. Love the Royal Flush as well. But speaking of Royal Flushes, Saipe does have theirs available for one last contest. And there might be a portal play, but Fincy was the one that was staggered the most, so they can't even go for it. They need to just have someone touch, go for the Galactic Legend, and they at least get overtime.
Walking up old style, Sparker's already down. What a great pickup by Rojaro. It was facilitated by the Feast of the Abyss from Trust Me. The remainder of Virtus.pro, oh, the point! Oh, Treejo was dove in the background, and we are 1-1. Na'Vi have recovered from yesterday.
Virtus.pro with the first C9 we've seen in some time, but unfortunately they didn't have the portal play. The stagger proved to be enough, and we've seen master classes of those performed in previous series. But speaking of masterclass, Terra, the MVP Star-Lord Galactic Legend from the Raging Royal Flush from level 1 Crook, was the thing that led them to victory. 9 final hits, but Jerky's flexibility cannot be understated. Picking up the shoes very well from Naga in their previous days of the Grand Finals, and now being the first team ever in the preseason to take a map off of Virtus.pro.
Bro moved continents to be able to go toe-to-toe with Sparker on the reg, not wanting to wait for LAN, and Terra had his chance. Got his MVP. 44k damage, triple pockets from the Ultron, the Mantis, and the Raging Royal Flush. Shades of 100 Thieves here for Na'Vi, and shades of victory over Virtus.pro, who now are going to be able to decide our next map. I wonder if we're going to go to something like Idris Path, but they've got to go to Convergence. So maybe something more like a symbiotic surface.
Oh man, we haven't seen symbiotic surfers from either of these teams like this, so that would be pure cinema if it does happen. Probably not Hall of the Jolly, though. Could be at Central Park, especially after seeing what's happened to Navi there in the past. And well, it's a 3-for-3 record for Virtus.pro. But talking a little bit more about this specific matchup, it felt like Virtus.pro had the edge in the compositions out the gate, and then unfortunately just didn't play what their comfort zone was. They were a little hesitant to focus on what the usual is the Galactic Legend from the Star-Lord and the Raging Royal Flush, and also using the Heartbreaker, and instead Navi just stuck to the basics and it worked out.
I mean, I feel like maybe there needs to be an adjustment still towards that one-sided Invisible Woman, which is doing so much right now. Treejo actually dropped 57k healing in that matchup. The next highest was level 1 Crook on 42k, and that was in a triple strategist. Admittedly, Cypher was getting a little bit more aggressive, but this play from Na'Vi has been very sort of like, Trust Me is looking like a different beast today, doing a great job of trolling the objective as well. That would not have gone that way if Trust Me had not got those continuous defensive taps on the Batsmobile as it was going up the hill to allow for the remainder of Na'Vi to get in an advantageous position to use their ultimates.
That's why you have to really keep aware of what's going on around you. Not having the Daredevil in play means you don't have that vision on when the dives are coming in as well, and they didn't even have a chance to play it because the ban came out from Navi, and I feel like that ban could have been the straw that broke the camel's back here. But it will be a case of a tied series for now. We're going into uncharted waters after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
is on. 1,000 gods!
While even kings can bleed, VP have dropped the map and it's like by the skin of their teeth. That was so exciting. Navi pulled through on their choice of map of Museum of Contemplation, but giving credit where credit is due, leg day. Terra put the Lord in Star-Lord. He was incredible.
Oh,
you're muted.
Oh, my bad. You know who wasn't quite in that map? Not like me, Terra, getting triple boost from the remainder of Navi. Jerky giving him the Mantis boost and the Ultron boost. We saw the Mantis boost come through as well. And Raging Royal Flash. Like, so many resources were poured into Terra. And credit to Navi, they managed to adjust their comp on the fly to make sure that they could take that duel against Sparker, which is not easy to do.
Now all the resources into him to deliver the 44,000 damage, 9 final hits, and to dominate the lobby. And Terra did so against an invisible woman, which is kind of the scissor against the paper in the rock, paper, scissors. But Vaudable looking at Hall of the Jalia. The bans were also very important. I mean, Navi did their homework. They took out the cab, they took out the DD, and that affected VP.
Yeah, I'd say like not having the vision of the DD for Phi was a big thing too, especially when we saw a lot of really good flanks from them specifically. The Captain America that we saw as well was a good counter in a way, using the Freedom charges against the Galactic Legend whenever they needed to bunker up, and it just felt like having that extra alt charge acceleration really put the pace in favor of Virtus Pro on that first map. So Navi, noticing those things, decided to go for the target bans and give Virtus Pro a couple of different options that they're not used to having available to them. And it felt like because they weren't used to having some of these things, they weren't as comfortable. And this goes to show, you know, some of that hesitancy, some of that danger that we were talking about in the interview yesterday, that this Virtus Pro team wasn't as confident as they could have been going into this meta.
And how confident are you if you're Navi going into Hall of the Jalia? That is their pick, and this is something that they've chosen before. Remember that really funny Heretics game leg day where there was maybe a potential misban? That was a doozy.
I mean, this is a little bit of reverse psychology from Virtus Pro. Like, Hall of Jalia was the first map they lost in like 2025 Pro Play. They lost it to what was Navi. I believe they were Rad at the time. And then they got full held here in Grand Finals. Navi got full held against Virtus Pro. And then, obviously, Navi lost this one out against Heretics after Heretics didn't get their final ban because they were, I don't know, they were busy being whimsical. They were slurping on their no ban juice. So maybe saying, you know what, Navi, we think you're washed on this map. It's Virtus Pro's era now.
I'm thinking, Vaudable, they got to get rid of Terra's Star-Lord. He has woken
100%.
up, and you don't want to poke the bear on this one.
Well, especially for allowing the Gambit through, like having this Star-Lord, if Terra doesn't have some sort of comfort pick available to him, it really shuts down the effectiveness of this team. You could still do pretty well on the Phoenix, though, on this map specifically, so even if it's not available, that could be an option. Navi, they would be forced to ban a couple of other things if the Star-Lord isn't available to them specifically, but Virtus Pro opting for the attacking side here specifically as they pick the side and the map as a reminder. So I'm really excited to see how this one goes, and maybe they're just trying to force a flashback of sorts and mess with the mental of Navi by going to this map.
Yeah, I mean, the gloves are off. You don't need to be perfect anymore, VP. I mean, both of our undefeated champions of Heretics and VP have both suffered their first game losses. Heretics pulled through, but will Virtus Pro? Because now the picks and bans are not as similar as they were before. In leg day, there was a lot of Star-Lord versus Phoenix and kind of a lot of swaps between Terra and Sparker on that range duelist.
Yeah, we even ended up seeing Sparker become the Wolverine towards the end, so it's anybody's game.
It is anyone's game. It is a tie series. We'll see on Virtus Pro's playground. Their first map pick of the preseason, what they have up their sleeve.
All that for a drop of blood. Virtus Pro are the ones who are bleeding right now, but they have the chance to reclaim their initiative in our winners semis against NAVI on their own map pick of Hall of Jalia. Storied location, a storied battlefield for these two particular clans.
Yeah, last time we saw Trust Me playing some Venom, then playing some Vanguard Pool a couple of times. Even we saw the Magneto come out for Rajaro specifically. Terra did have that Star-Lord specifically, but the damage boost could not be understated too. So if I am the side of Virtus Pro, I might be focusing on the Mantis ban here as well.
Yeah, getting rid of that Mantis. It has been, say, under-prioritized by Virtus Pro thus far, whereas Na'Vi, they are staying strong on their respective Mantis, knowing that a damage-boosted Sparker is a dangerous proposition to go up against, but we've also seen the damage-boosted Terra can do just as well. Once again, the Loki is going to be taken off the field. Interestingly, Virtus Pro have actually had the option for the Gambit Loki multiple times in this series already, but are yet to really opt into it because they think that the Invisible Woman is better.
We'll have to see if it is. I still like this focus on the Captain America, though, in terms of the bans, but I don't know if this map specifically is the one to do it. Yes, you can still create some good stalls on the point, and we saw how effective that has been in previous series against other teams, but prioritization seems to be a little lackluster from Na'Vi in the ban and protects, where Virtus Pro are getting one-sided Loki potentially and one-sided Invisible Woman.
Yeah, the one-sided invis, definitely something that has been a hallmark of Virtus Pro so far, but nice. Okay, so interestingly on this point, this has a particular use case in that it stops Trust Me from going for a Spider-Man pull at the beginning of the game. So he likes to go for a Spider-Man pull at the beginning of the game and then use a rollout on Venom to get back to the point after throwing himself off the map immediately afterwards.
Well, here's that vision we were missing last time from Fi, locking in the Daredevil so that they know when these dives are coming in from Na'Vi. That seemed to be a big difference maker for them. At least give one of their duelists their best in slot heroes, and now it turns to the other side and you're not giving them the Invisible Woman, especially after how it went last go around, because Dredro was such a huge driving force for how close that last map was. But no, instead they're going for the one-sided Van Pool, so it will be one-sided Loki and Mantis available for Virtus Pro.
Dredro getting away with the Invisible Woman again. Like, I don't know if you're just very scared of Fincy on the Van Pool, which is reasonable.
I get it,
but
yeah.
I feel like Dredro's just been able to do so much so far on the Invisible Woman.
Yeah, Dredro is a force to be reckoned with, for sure, on that Invisible Woman. I feel like also having the ability to rock out with the Doctor Strange if you need to with the team up has been really good, especially for those stalls after you have the portal play as well. Looking at the composition, though, for Virtus Pro is very interesting if they're going for some different unorthodox style that Na'Vi might not be as used to. I think they could also be having fun in Spawn, who quite knows. But Na'Vi on the other side of things, Jerky now in the Ultron. We've seen that rocked out a couple of times as well on their side. And I misspoke earlier about the one-sided Mantis, one-sided Loki, but still Virtus Pro feeling content not to play the Loki and go with the double Gambit. Instead, they like to focus on something else, which is the symbiotic shenanigans, potentially. Okay, now they're going with the old faithful of the Doctor Strange and Invisible Woman team up.
Now, this is a new breed of triple strategist compositions. Giving up the Lunar instead, which does allow you to continue pocketing Terra, but not with damage boost, with the Snowflake instead, knowing that Trust Me and Raja are going to be able to eat a lot of damage to facilitate that healing. Fire's likely going to swap over now onto something that can play from the off angle, indeed it's going to be the Daredevil.
Now they'll have the vision to know exactly where the Na'Vi players are going from, especially based on the footage that they have about this map for Na'Vi. They played it really close against Team Heretics, even though it wasn't going the way that they wanted, and already an early pick on the Fate.
Yeah, punished for playing on the Destructible Bridge. They instantly fall down to Terra Firma and the rest of Virtus Pro. When they smell blood in the water, those piranhas do circle. A first tick already given over for Virtus Pro. Spark is somewhat bungled there engaged, but I think it's going to be too heavily punished as Terra moving in towards the Venom. No symbolic resilience remains, so Nevix can't stay in here. Level 1 Crook getting up close and personal with Fi. Winning out and up close duel against Matthew Murdoch is a bit of a rarity.
Na'Vi will happily take that as well and get their Van Hammer available to them as well. Level 1 Crook almost even has the Rage and Row Flush available to them. So Virtus Pro, unfortunately, the composition maybe not working out as well as they wanted it to, but Nevix on their side still has the Venom, can dive in when they need to, distract the backline, and I feel like if they focus around that, they might be doing a little bit better here.
Okay, drones allocated to the two flankiest members of Na'Vi. Rajra is kind of just going to be standing in main with his dual Desert Eagles, pummeling them down. But the remainder of Na'Vi are in this very cowed position. They do not want to give an easy lineup here to Fi or Sparker, as NAVI's just going to poke away, building out towards that Feast of the Abyss, which will be a critical opener of the tin can of that backline. And speaking of tin cans that are opening, in comes the Raging Royal Legend. Can Cypher get away from this one is the question. Peeks out a little bit too far. Doesn't have the Bayou Bash that they were looking for. But you know what? The accuracy means that they're not going to be overly damaged by the Bat Hammer. But Fate on the off angle with the ISARs is able to do plenty here. Fincy is going to be temporarily waylaid by Trust Me. And Virtus Pro still have a couple of players in the back who could be hunted down here. This is danger close.
Danger close, but they did get some percentage at least. Eventually, they're just going to go forward and try to reset completely, which I think is a wise decision here. You used your Rage and Royal Flush. It didn't work out as well as you would have liked, but it did bait the one from level 1 Crook, and saw that Na'Vi had theirs so much earlier than Virtus Pro, which is why the Patience game came out from them. So now that they have the advantage of ultimates a little bit, they'll be able to rally behind it.
All right, Rage of Ultron goes first. Perfect tracking by Terra onto Saipe. And now you got to think about the next fight, to be honest. With Saipe down, this one might be cooked. Hello. Trying to turn it around. The Dance of Butterflies in the back, but Sparker found all of Na'Vi all together. So many ults are going to be invested here from Virtus Pro. The Alpha Strike is coming forth. Trust Me has given over a bunch of additional HP here. And of course, inside of a Fate of Both Worlds, for healing is good. Virtus Pro just dumped so many ultimates, but they didn't have Saipe to back them up, so they couldn't have the healing debuff.
Tough spot to be in for VP, but they are going to continue to push towards the objective, using the Meteor M to maybe engage, but also push people off that point and get some extra percentage. Still contest coming through, though.
Saipe found on the off-angle. Jerky is responsible for this one. Reigns above it all, giving out all of the drones. There's plenty of healing that's going to be pouring out of this Ultron, and Virtus Pro, with 30 seconds remaining, are kind of floundering. They're not going to have access to any ults for the remainder of this.
Na'Vi have studied the record books and are making up for their past mistakes. We saw in Museum of Contemplation they struggled. Now they have locked in on that map. This one as well was a pain point for them during the group stages, and they have learned to shore up all of their weaknesses, patch the gaps in their Ironwood defenses, and now are proving to be a menace against Virtus Pro.
Trust Me was simply eating that fire, so that Crook can roll forward now with the Raging Royal Legend. Is there any way to take cover here for the remainder of Virtus Pro? Certainly not for Dredro, and certainly not for Fi. Saipe taken down, and level 1 Crook saying, oh, that's enough glaze in a Dredro. That's enough glaze in a Saipe. You got to think about the Crime Lord himself, Mr. Level 100 Crook.
Cannot be stopped. The mob boss himself is going to be the one to deal the final hand to Virtus Pro on attack. This was their side to pick, by the way. They picked the map and the side, and unfortunately has not gone in their favor. You could tell that Virtus Pro are off of their A game. They're not used to feeling this kind of pressure, and I feel like this might be a result to maybe an easier group that they've had on the way here.
I mean, it's arguable, right? With Rad, the second place in the group, going down 3-0 to Shikigami in the second versus third seed quarterfinal of winners. Admittedly, Virtus Pro, they can still hold this, but Na'Vi are looking incredibly good. I think that also they've shown great discipline. We saw Trust Me kind of just sitting there, eating damage, allowing for level 1 Crook to get that ultimate for Raging Royal Flush for the final fight. Virtus Pro, they got a little bit overexcited. They dumped 4 ults at once into a Fate of Both Worlds and a Freedom Charge. So there's no real way to destroy Fate through the healing of that and the bonus health that was given over by Trust Me. I think that Virtus Pro probably could have done a little bit of a better accounting job when it came to how they were spending.
I do gotta give credit where it's due. I mean, shout out to the analyst for Navi, Sky, specifically. Had some stuff cooked up. I asked them, and they were just looking for the win here today. And, well, we've seen more than enough in the ban phase against this Virtus Pro team. They seem to have them read. The Captain America and Mantis focuses, and then also the one-sided Vanguard pool has been a big boon for Na'Vi, but they need to clutch up here and at least get some percentage to close it out and get the advantage in this series.
Fincy just going to poke around in main for now, an exchange of poke between the two sides. Level 1 Crook's already falling low. The same for Fate. I think that maybe Saipe managed to find an angle there to get the anti-heal onto them. The cards are drawn, but Na'Vi are yet to fold, continuing to press on forward undermanned. And this does mean that Fate's going to have a lot more trouble building up towards their own ultimate, but whatever slack can be given is picked on up by Crook here, which means that they're significantly ahead of Saipe.
Speaking of significantly ahead, we have Roger already having the ultimate available with the Banhammer.
I believe we may have thrown it over onto Terra, or rather onto Spark. But Darren Saipei's down. This is a big opening here for level 1 Crook, and Fate being down again means so much of the healing is going to be falling upon the Gambit once more. And a little body block coming through. You got to start worrying about presence on the point already. That's why Fincy's playing on the corner, surrounded by members of Na'Vi. Virtus Pro thought they could turn it around here on Hall of Jalia, but it's looking incredibly improbable now. Spark is already down. Jerky's channeling the Rage of Ultron, and Na'Vi had everything they needed to make that go even further. 2-1.
The midnight bell is starting to toll against Virtus Pro, and Na'Vi are here to collect 2 maps in a row, one away from usurping the current world champions and proving that they are the better squad on this meta. Terra and the rest of Na'Vi have been forged through the fire of the group stages, where Virtus Pro have relatively had ease all their way here. Now they're finally faced their match in tough competition, and look at all those goose eggs in the final blows against this team of Na'Vi. 4 players who did not go down once.
Unbelievable resilience from Na'Vi. Great discipline when it came to their positions. Like, I thought it was cooked when Fate was on the bridge, dropped down, instantly got taken by the dive of Virtus Pro. Like, you're down your Luna. What are you going to do from there? Na'Vi managed to win that one back from a 5 versus 6 is absolutely phenomenal. It was like, call an ambulance, but not for Na'Vi.
Only 5 KOs in total against Na'Vi here. Fate being the one to be focused on, but honestly, because Fate was focused so much, it allowed level 1 Crook just to be unleashed, giving the damage boost to their team, using the ultimates properly. The patience that we also witnessed from Na'Vi tried to bait out the Galactic Legends and also the Raging Royal Flushes from Virtus Pro meant that they had the advantage in the 1v1s when they were using their ultimates, so the team fights just worked out that much better for the side of Na'Vi.
I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed right now with Na'Vi. Like, we're wondering if they were going to be able to get it together after their fight against Fire Strays, where they did win 3-1.
Fire Strays look kind of better than Virtus Pro.
Surprised to lose that map. I mean, Virtus Pro right now, they still have their own map pick, but if this is going to go to a 5th map, if Virtus Pro can get it done on their own map pick, it is going to be it's going to be an uphill battle, because then Na'Vi will get to pick our 5th map.
1 map away from Na'Vi pulling off the upset about our reigning world champions. Virtus Pro look to rally back and force a map 5. We'll see if they can do it after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Navi look unstoppable. They win that last map with 3 minutes to spare after full holding Virtus Pro World Champions on their map pick. And first time on Museum of Contemplation, VP lose. First time on Hall of the Jaya, VP lose. Need some comfort picks here, Vaudable.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to think about this. Like, the last time we saw Virtus Pro losing in this fashion was against Citadel Gaming. It went to 5 on that specific one. That was in the playoffs. It seems playoffs seem to be their crutch so far, and they unfortunately were not able to come out on top, and then eventually went through the lower bracket, beat Navi 3-1, and then beat Citadel Gaming at the end there. So they've gone through adversity before, but not in this fashion. And even before that, Choft even took them to map 5. So not having as much pressure against like top competition seems to mean that Virtus Pro just have not been as practiced against this level of pressure that they're facing here.
And like the fact that Navi had only died 5 times on that map. And you got to commend the strategists. I mean, there's only 2 of them. Or, well, there was 3, but basically 2. I mean, Ultron is kind of cosplaying a duelist. But, like, for real, though, like, Fate, Crook were huge in that map.
Yeah, a little bit of drip healing coming from the Ultron, and Fate and Crook were definitely, like, Crook decided to, like, take a leaf out of a sci-fi book, you know, and get a little bit more aggressive on the Gambit, chasing down their counterpart when they could. I think that Fate's stats didn't quite tell the story of how important having that Luna is. Well, the amount of healing from them may have been somewhat low, like, in its totality. One of the things that Luna really brings to the table is, like, triage healing, right? Like, being at range, being able to put the flake on someone and get them from very low health to very full incredibly quickly, while not maybe putting out as much in the neutral, and being able to have unfair duels courtesy of Luna through the ice arts because of the piercing, heal, and damage on those players. So it means that sometimes you're going to get a little bit of an advantage, maybe in a Terra versus Sparker side lane duel, but wasn't expected.
I mean, Fate is a threat on the Luna Snow. K-pop girly herself can, I mean, you don't want to play Daredevil, Wolverine into that. Just Doctor Strange has to be careful of this woman. I mean, Vaudable, this is going to be an exciting game 4. We're going to take a look to see if VP Virtus Pro can force game 5 or go to the lower bracket. Good luck, everybody else.
The Kings stand on a precipice of defeat here. And this is a very dangerous position. They've chosen their own map. We're going to Midtown to try and stop Navi's reign of terror on all of these convoy and convergence maps.
This is a map that hasn't been played by Navi as well here, like day. We've seen so many different compositions on different maps, specifically for domination, and you know, a couple different looks on convergence. But in terms of convoy, Araco and Museum, those are the 2 we've seen from them so far. Virtus Pro, they've played it once, they've won once, so they're looking for an old faithful, and they have a lot of footage on this specific map in different metas. The big thing is, can the ban phase go in their favor this time? And there's been so much targeting them, and I feel like a good focus here as well is because Navi have to be on the defensive side, so they can only ban so much.
I mean, I'm thinking that Navi are probably going to go for that cat ban again. It served them very well thus far. And Virtus Pro, maybe they pivot into, if they don't want to play the Invis, they could always play the Loki, whenever Juju's pretty good at Loki themselves. Once again, they're hoping to at least have the one-sided Invis in their back pocket, but I don't know if we saw Juju actually play it on the previous map. I think they were more playing Jeff on the offense, which didn't serve them incredibly well.
That's been the problem. I feel like a lot of these comps for Virtus Pro have not been working out in their favor, and they haven't found their comfort zone against Navi. The adaptation that you know, we heard from Oasis having to be so flexible in this comp has been a struggle, but finally we do see another Mantis ban coming out onto Navi. They've been doing a really good job with the damage boost, but they didn't even need it last time. They had the Ultron in their pocket, and that was good enough. And the Star-Lord specifically, I'm so shocked that we haven't targeted that once.
Yeah, just continually allowing it to fall into the hands of Terra. But to be fair, like, maybe they don't feel so bad about it when they know they have the invisible boundary active and available. Last ban will come through here for the side of Navi. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Daredevil get taken away. The thing would be a little bit of a niche pick, but one of the things that Virtus.pro really looking forward to here is having their Vanguard Deadpool back, because it means that they can actually soften up strategists before the dive occurs and the thing ban comes to. Admittedly, Virtus.pro do have a long and motley history of playing thing on Midtown. This is where they've played it the most, as far as I'm aware.
NAVI also reaching back into the history books to figure out what the strategy is against Virtus.pro on this specific map. And misspoke a little bit earlier. They have played this one just yesterday against Fire Strays. Got a 3-0 there on their end. But the biggest difference here is that they had the Elsa available to them. They don't, because Virtus.pro know they cannot give Terra his bested slot.
Yeah, both of these teams affording massive respect to the Elsa players of Sparker and Terra. Although, admittedly, Fi probably has a nasty Elsa in him as well, given his competitive history in hero shooters as a hit scan enjoyer.
I also do like this look from NAVI. I'm curious if Crook, going to be sticking with that Gambit. Jerky, the rotations that we've seen from them in terms of the flexibility of hero pool, right? We used to just see them play the same heroes as Terra has been in this preseason. Now they've been taking up the role of Naga, who used to be on the roster, playing that triple strategist for their team. And I really love this kind of brawl style that we'll be able to see from Terra and the White Fox from Jerky.
Okay, so here's one of the things that the Thing Ban's going to do. It's going to mean that you don't really have an easy swap into Terra here. Your Vanguards are just going to have to suffer, unfortunately.
As you say that, though, they do have the spawn to break composition, the bread and butter of the Strangling Prison, and also the Hand of Khonshu we've seen time and time again on this map. And the freezes are going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to build it up as quickly.
Oh, the Sparker on Moon Knight's a little bit of a rarity, but of course, a touch more common here on Midtown for all teams that assume it, as it is great for that spawn break. Cypher just burning up a bunch of cards here to keep people healed on up. Virtus.pro only using 2 strategists here for 3 Vanguards in order to make sure that they're going to be able to outpace the ultimate of level 1 Crook.
A bit of a change up on defense compared to last time we saw Navi on this map specifically. Had some more Ultron focus and instead are now going to see what they can do here.
All right, Hands of Khonshu dropping on down on top of Rajaro. Terra's already been taken down. Virtus.pro have found their opening, and that came off the back of Fi already using their ban hammer as well. Navi probably going to swap over here. Do they want to swap for a portal? They're so close to ults.
It doesn't seem like that's the option that they're going for. Instead, we are going to have the Vanguard pool come back out from Rajaro. I feel like that's a better option than the play that we saw from the Thing specifically. Trust me, though, sticking with the Groot, going for the Strangling Prison. There is the Ultra I was talking about from Jerky that we saw last time.
All right, that's going to give some extra boost up to Terra when they need it, and level 1 Crook's going to be boosting up the entirety of the team. Both Saipe and level 1 Crook have a Raging Royal flushes available. The question is who wants to go first. Saipe decides to claim the initiative. Level 1 Crook with the second, but trust me, he's already down, was walled in, and so the healing could not reach them. A chase in towards the back lines of Navi. Virtus.pro have claimed all the space, and it has to be a re-engagement here off the back of the Fate of Both Worlds, channeled by Fate himself. Dredro take him down, and was actually taken out a moment after they brought up the invisible boundary. That's a massive loss for Virtus.pro here. Cypher's going to be the only strategist remaining. But there are still members of Virtus.pro who are willing to hang around and fight this one. Jerky tries to put it to bed, and guess what? Level 1 Crook is once again hunting down his counterpart.
The extra damage that Terra has with the Rage and Royal Flush and also the Ultron drone just makes it so difficult for Dredro to stay alive in those invisible boundaries. And that's the second time in this series that we've seen it just not work out in their favor. So that combo is going to continue to be something that you have to worry about every time they ult.
Raj Ray, the ban hammer, ready to go. It's going to be mirrored here by Fi as Jerky already having popped for Rage of Ultron. Virtus.pro take cover for now, and they simply accolade all their fire onto Jerky, who can't deal with all of the accrued damage that's put towards him. Trust me, almost has another Feast of the Abyss going in towards the back. Would really like Dredro, but Sparker is on it when it comes to the peel, forcing the Symbiotic Resilience to be used in response to the damage coming through. Heartbreaker starts to shut down the ultimates, and Sparker reigns above it all, trying to find access to level 1 Crook, who's going to need to Bayou Bash away, but I don't know if he's really got a path to safety. Trust me, tried to intercede on behalf of their Gambit, but it was thoroughly punished. Nevix towards the back begins kicking through onto Fate. Doesn't even need to steal that one. Instead, will grab Ultron, and there's nothing to suck from him, but there is going to be plenty of pain, which is given over thereafter.
Nevix remembered that they have 2 hands of justice and some Cajun flavoring on them as well from the rogue that they have available to them in this composition. It hasn't been banned out this whole time, and goes to show why the Brawl works so well to create that space and target that backline. Fate could do nothing to stop them. So now we see a counterplay with Trust Me doing the exact same, and Trust Me did a really good job on the Rogue in the previous map, but Jerky interested me the most here on this Hulk and what their strategy will be.
All right, the Jerky Hulk hasn't been great so far, forcing out the invisible boundary already. Fincy just holds up the shield to shield up everyone behind them. It gives over a little bit of additional survivability. Level 1 Crook falling low. 1 hit would do it, but it seems like it's not going to be delivered. Level 1 Crook just about manages to squeak away. Fincy just stands on the cart, ready to open the Eye of Agamotto.
On the stagger onto Jerky as well. Not where they want to be. They're going for the counter portals to stop them from moving it through towards the objective, and taking their time on this too to see exactly where there might be a flanking around and positioning.
Would love to cut off a singular member. It is a touch early, though. Na'Vi going to have plenty of time to move around the outside. This does mean that it's easy to try and build up the ultimate with the Blaster Barrage. For Sparker, though, is going to have that in no time at all. As Fate is taken out through their ultimate, the fate of both worlds was not decided this time around. A quick anti-card from Saipe, and the amplified damage of a multitude of bears was enough to stop the K-pop star in her tracks.
Unfortunate for Na'Vi, it doesn't seem like any composition that they can pull out of a hat has been working, and they need a new wardrobe and fast. The costume power is not here for them. Jerky now pulling out the Star-Lord and Terra, focusing on the Wolverine, but instead opting to just forgo the Raging Royal Flush combo and go for the Psylocke, which we have seen some good usages of the Dance of the Butterfly with the Royal Flush, but will it be enough? Time will tell, because Virtus Pro seem to have things locked in on Midtown.
Na'Vi desperately pouring in the dark, looking for an answer. Terra already 70% of the way to the towards their own ultimate, but having had their passive pop, the healing's not going to be there. The Spirit Sanctuary was a little bit too far back. Raja has already been taken down as well, and Jerky just gets blasted against the wall by Saipe.
Not how you want to go down whatsoever. So Fincy having the time of his life, and just goes to show how good the one-sided Invis is. We've seen in every other series today that Invis has typically been a priority ban for most teams, and this is the reason why. You cannot allow Doctor Strange to have some extra heals and their own CC, and this is, again, patch 7. There's no tenacity available for you.
Terra has the answer to the invisible boundary, though. A nice last stand to try and drag them out of that ultimate could be everything. The Heartbreaker opens up here from Nevix to try and suck away some of that ult charge from the members of the VP defense. But level 1 Crook is undeterred, brings out the Raging Royal Flush, moving towards the back. Have they managed to grab Tutor out of the ultimate? Yes, they have! Terra understood the assignment and gets an A+ on that one. Na'Vi cash in their bank, and they get rewarded for their ingenuity.
Pass the skill check with flying colors, but will it be enough to stop Virtus Pro? Even with how much time is remaining if they full hold here, there's a long distance to go on Midtown where a lot of teams have been completely full held in the past, and Na'Vi have their work cut out for them again. Last time they played this, they 3-0'd themselves, so uncharted waters for them lie ahead, and it's going to be a bumpy ride against the best in the world.
Few means of stopping Fincy's ultimate. It's going to have to be a freeze from Fate, or some kind of interceding from Trust Me. Raja is already here, ready to fight. In comes the Dancer of Butterflies towards the back. It seems like the damage is being shed out effectively between the members of Virtus Pro, and Jerky's disengagement is going to be shut down by Tridro. The remainder of Na'Vi were unwilling to commit to that fight. They got some bad juju from it, and so Jerky was left high and dry with no means of getting out of there. An attempt to grab, and it's Fincy towards the back. Level 1 Crook actually gets taken down through the fate of both worlds that was channeled by their co-strategist. And now Virtus Pro have started moving forward with the cart, have an Eye of Agamotto ready to open. No ults to their name. Level 1 Crook is 25% away. Na'Vi desperately need to try and survive here, but they're going to be doing it down. One duelist already towards the back. The freeze is good from Fate, but still the Ice Arts will wake up the sleeping wizard, and level 20 is going to be achieved soon here by this wizard. Still level 1 Crook. No, he just got 100%. It's a perfect play. away from Sparker, but Fate's come out on the Rocket Raccoon. The Resurrection's there. Now that means the Raging Royal Flush can try and turn this one around. Trust me, fell out just before they got the Heartbreaker. No Resurrections this time, but Terra and Raj are looking to try and resurrect all the chances that Virtus.pro had of trapping this one. Where did it come from? What is Terra cooking over there? The invisible boundary drawn on up. Jerky starts to channel a portal. Don't know what he's quite cooking in the middle of this one. Out comes the Heartbreaker. The ults are being taken away. The hopes of Virtus.pro are fading as they are stalled just out of a 3rd point completion.
Rocket Raccoon is viable is all you need to know from that one, baby. The BRB brings them back into the fight with new wings and wind under their sails to move forward and at least stop them before the final capture. This is the final hour for Na'Vi. They just have to get to the end of the road here in Midtown, and they will be moving on to the winners finals for a rematch against this Team Heretics roster that 2-0 swept them in the group stages. They got to focus on this one first, though, Leg Day. Not want to go to a map 5 against a team such as Virtus.pro.
Yeah, going to map 5 against Virtus.pro. I believe it would probably... I think it could be Convergence or Domination. And Na'Vi are probably happy with either of those. Probably don't want to go back to Domination, where Virtus.pro seem to have a distinct advantage. But Na'Vi, now they face something a little bit more dangerous. The defense of Midtown, which is probably one of the most defensible areas in the game. We commonly see holds on both first and second point here. 3rd point is rarely visited.
It just goes to show how good Virtus.pro were doing with their push initially. We saw some decent holds from Na'Vi at the start. The 2nd point, really not as much as we would have liked, and then eventually they clutched up at the end, but could be just due to some mistakes as well on Virtus.pro's part, the pressure getting to them, but pressure makes diamonds, and that's what they need to be on this defensive end.
A defensive diamond. Yet to be crushed from all sides. Na'Vi still developing the angles. They've managed to slink up above. Terra ready for a drop in here onto a Vanguard. Would really like Fincy, but for now, Cypher's just able to freely fling out cards of healing from this defensive bastion that Virtus.pro have created. A nice freeze onto Fincy. Maybe it can be followed up here by... Oh my goodness, the instant mutual stun onto Trust Me, and Terra actually gets waylaid on their intro here. Does force Jerky to make a move inside, but you know what? With all the triage that's being pointed towards Terra, Jerky doesn't really have that much in the way of healing. Pulled out of the blast, the barrage around towards the back. They're on top of Fate. Fire has no mercy in his heart, and while it's a temporary jump scare that's brought on over, enough has been done here for Virtus.pro to hold strong.
Not much leeway given to Na'Vi so far in terms of meterage. They desperately need a team fight win. The beacon from Sparker keeps Virtus.pro sustained, and then just backing up, not fully engaging onto this Na'Vi roster has made it that much easier. And even when the kidnaps come through, they do have some sort of protection to send them away due to the Invisible Woman.
A panoply of walls erected behind the members of Na'Vi. Terra caught inside of the invisible boundary. No healing can be delivered, and Randro is noted on the outside. But Nevix is more than happy to try and keep this one in contestation. Oh, Sparker, he's a duelist no matter what he's playing. The Rocket Raccoon is just pumping out the damage.
Talked about how good the Rocket Raccoon was towards the end. Well, now we see it at the beginning here for Virtus.pro on defense. More and more time, and knocked off the clock, and ever closer we edge to that map 5.
Nice wall brought up them, and there was no way to try and pull... Oh, I think that they may have blocked Jerky's ultimate with the Strange Shield. Fincy now ready to try and counter-strike. 4 players stunned by the Eye of Agamotto. Yeah, there's going to be a quick cleanse from level 1 Croak, but the damage has already been done. And Nevix wants to do even more than this. Another mutual stun. Trust me, laid down on the ground twice in the midst of it. And Virtus.pro have had enough playing around. They desire a map 5 with all of their heart.
Nevix proving that they are one of the best rogue players in the world for a reason. It doesn't matter if they're the one who gets stunned out as well, because they're able to shut down and Trust Me before they can even engage and go towards the backline, protecting them perfectly. And with all these ultimates available to Virtus.pro, it's just a matter of time for another team fight win.
Last stand, ready to go. Yet another mutual stun between Nevix and Trust Me here, and Nevix is already taking too much damage. Has to back up. It's a great answer from Na'Vi. However, the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier means that Virtus.pro are doing unlimited amounts of damage right now within the AoE of that. You can see that it's not really taking any damage. Na'Vi have called this fight.
Backed off from it, dropped like flies around the cart, and unfortunately, they'll have to pick up the pieces in this last minute to try and make a mad dash to capture point 1. And here's Terra just solo ulting.
All in onto Fi. Terra just got the extra damage there coming through from a Raging Royal Flush. Level 1 Crook saw the opening, wants to go after their counterpart in Saipe, sends in even more. A Bayou Bash to the skull, but now Level 1 Crook is out in no man's land and is easily hunted down by Fincy. Drudro caught on the other side, pulled on in, and trust me, he's there with the finish, but Jerky, that might be a little bit too much what's been sent in there. It will force a reset on Nevix, but that's a big hole.
So many resources had to be used on this team fight. The biggest question mark for this last dash for Navi is if the ultimates can come online from Fate and Rajro fast enough against Virtus Pro. Saipe will have a Royal Flush, but there's a great freeze onto him instead.
Heartbreaker already moving forward. Another mutual stun coming through from Nevik to protect that back line. That means that Fi has to stand on the cart by themselves for now. Terra's getting all over Fincy. Doesn't want to allow the Eye of Agamotto. No stuns delivered this time, as already you can see that Fate was ready and willing to answer it. Fincy and Fi both go down. Good angle here from Jerky, but Navi need to stay on the cart now. There's very little to try and push them off, minus for Force Physics. Another 2 minutes 30 will be added to their time bank.
Damage boost difference maker from Fate of Both Worlds by Fate himself. Maybe that's where the name comes from. But the way that they're able to take Virtus Pro to task in these team fights gives Navi fans hope. But a portal play comes through, they look to capitalize.
Early engage, it's instantly punished by Terra. A perfect last stand, and when they're all stacked up, it's a nice right click for Jerky. However, Navi, they force out one ult for the TP. It's a trade.
But the portal's not placed properly, so it can't stop the cart in its tracks. They had to just quickly get that one through and hope that it'd be enough for them to change the tide of the battle in the favor of Virtus Pro.
All right, now Virtus Pro. With no ultimates to play with here, up against a singular Eye of Agamotto, how do they play this defensive position? They have geographical advantage. However, team up here for the road is just so much damage. It's going to have to be Sparker trying to escape. Fate instantly pivots on over, and while Fincy may demand attention, flying gracefully across the sky is an airborne wizard. There's not going to be anything they can do. Laying down on the floor, Nevix is surrounded and eviscerated. Navi have got their mojo back.
Jerky realizing that Terra needs more sustainability if they're going to be playing Wolverine, so instead opts for the team up. Works so well for them, has the extra regeneration of health that they could steal from their opponents as they're dealing damage, and then they don't have to worry as much about going for a triple strategist in that end. Rajaro specifically is just holding things down on the front line as the main base vanguard for this team with the shield, and unfortunately for Fincy, he hasn't been able to go toe-to-toe with him as well as he'd like.
Rajaro could cook here, inside of the invisible boundary. Fire is still stuck outside of it. The great control. Jerky means to land in the midst of them. However, healing still good enough from Drudro for this one. Not enough to save Nevix, though. Virtus Pro are calling it. They're backing on off.
Terra got stuck in the aisle to change his clothes for a second and then realized, wait, I wasn't trying to go shopping for now. Instead, shopping for some eliminations and waiting for his next victim.
So close. This is your big chance.
Just holding patiently. Navi want to be able to spring their traps here. Fi moving in towards the back line. He's over on the Daredevil. The damage is going to be good here from the Raging Royal Flush. It's an all-in engagement from Virtus Pro. 3 ults for the victory, but now they have stability against Navi.
That's the problem here, Leg Day. So much time still on the clock. I don't even think they need to use a portal yet. Waiting for the final hour for that, and all the ultimates available for Navi. Not much room given to Virtus Pro to hold things down here, but they are making the cart move back inches at a time, and this could be enough. But Terra needs to get a big pick here with the last stand.
Now we have ults for days. You can see that Fincy is giving over a little bit of space here to make sure that they're not the one to be grabbed. Terra ready to move on in. They've invested heavily. A big pull here from Trust Me could be everything, but they're trying to get on top of it. Fincy's trying to act proactively here. All of the ultimates from Navi are popped up once. Virtus Pro find themselves stunned and obliterated. The devil might be let out, but they put the bear in the cage. Navi win 3-1.
Virtus Pro have not lost a series since the playoffs in Stage 2 of EMEA before the Grand Finals, and now they have finally met their maker. Navi bringing in international talent in Terra, the Canadian raging on the Wolverine himself, unleashed with 2 claws, dug into the competition, and now proven to be the better squad. Navi move forward, reclaiming their former glory from the mid-season finals, and make it into the winners. We'll see them against Heretics tomorrow.
Lore accurate Wolverine, minus the fact that Terra's like 6'2". I'm assuming that Lemon is flabbergasted on the other side. Let's see what she has to say about this.
I mean, absolute cinema. Chat and everyone watching, you were here for the first 2026 loss of Virtus Pro, and I don't even remember the last time they've ever lost a game, let alone a series. And can I just be honest, Vaudable, like, these two teams have been so close today, hitting their absolute peaks, but I had a sense that Navi wanted it more. Like, they got angry and used that as fuel to play even better, at their absolute best, I would say.
The rage meter was maxed out for Navi going into this series. They had a lot to prove. They said going into the playoffs and even the preseason that they wanted to be the dominant team in EMEA, and if they continue performance like this one, they will be unstoppable. I worry for Heretics, who also went to a map 5 themselves against Shikigami.
Insanity. And now I would say officially all of our brackets are ruined on that one. I mean, Heretics going to game 5 was, I mean, they still won, so the results are there. But Navi, I don't think anyone expected that. And we were asking everyone in every interview, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Everybody said Navi. So I think kind of using
Sean should have fucking
fuel
fire
of
all
the
too.
haters to go up against
to integrate, but it felt like they finally hit their stride and they really got one over on Virtus Pro. Like, they had some really innovative bans as well that other people haven't been considering versus this team. Getting rid of a cap and getting rid of a thing so that there was no good swap into a Wolverine was some great innovation.
And there were so many key moments you could tell Vaudable that everybody brought their A game, but also like deeper into the strategy book. If there were secrets to be held, they all came out today, from the triple vanguards to rocket revives of the day. Like, I could have a montage on that. I mean, there are so many huge pop-off moments.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like every team is going to be studying this series throughout the rest of the playoffs and maybe throughout all the way into stage 1 to prepare for that. This, again, is just the preseason competition. This isn't even for all the marbles of making it into the mid-season LAN itself. So, yes, there's $50,000 on the line, $16,000 for first place, but for these teams, pride and glory is all that they care about, and Navi were the ones to get all of that today.
And with this unfortunate loss for VP, it'll be a blessing because we'll see them rematch against Rad leg day, and like that was really cool. And I think what's even cooler is an interview from the man of the hour, the one that wanted this win more than anyone else. We have Tara, I believe, on the line, so we'll go and say hello to him live from the attic if he's ready, but maybe he's not. So, but yeah, the Rad versus VP rematch leg day is going to be a good one.
Yeah, VP are going to be playing angry. That much is assured. Like, I can't wait to talk to Tara about this series because, there were so many ups and downs. There was a lot of support that was given over as well. And Tara managed to, have some really well-crafted fights as well. And the play on the Wolverine was just sublime on Midtown. It felt like Virtus Pro were constantly scrambling for an answer.
Yeah. And then you got Shikigami versus Fire in that other lower bracket match. I mean, Vaudable, it's going to be a heartbreaker to even say goodbye to one of those teams, let alone two of them. And then we have the Heretics versus Navi. That rematch is even better, I think. We are being absolutely treated with entertainment.
Yeah, we've had so many amazing series throughout the day. Yeah, every series going to 5 for the end of it here as well. We saw some amazing performances earlier on in the lower bracket. I mean, Peps went out fighting as best they could. They even got a map too. Honestly, I think the big thing that we could take away from this is nothing is certain in terms of who's going to win these series. Even Heretics, one team fight could have gone the other way. We would have seen Shikigami versus Navi facing off against each other in the upper brackets. So this just means, prediction brackets, if you get it right, congrats to you. You're some sort of Nostradamus out there, but I think for the most part, most people could agree that theirs are broken at this rate.
I mean, there was already like the 1% that would have predicted Shikigami to be in the semifinal. Respectfully, I mean, that was just a really hard match. Like, Rad are incredible, so even better to be able to beat them. So already, like, you're at 1% of the bracket predictors, and then Navi beating VP, like, even the pros couldn't have predicted that. But this is what's amazing about preseason leg day, is that this is just in preparation for the stage, and this isn't going to affect anyone's chances of getting to that stage. It's going to make them a bit richer, but it's going to be really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly cool to see that, but it's also going to be incredibly cool to see our boy Tara.
Oh, is he ready? Let's say hi to Tara, everybody. I kind of spoiled what we were going to see here, but I better see a smile on your face. There we go. Tara happy. This is we're happy to see you happy, man. How are you feeling? You beat Virtus Pro.
It was good. I mean, first map was whatever. Everyone was doubting us. We really didn't find our identity throughout the whole time, but we know who we are. We know what kind of team we are, and we just had to all come together and trust each other. So we knew anything was possible. We knew that we could easily beat them in even a 3-0 sweep and all that stuff like this. But we also knew that they could beat us in a 3-0 sweep. So we're really happy with the results, even though we lose a map. We still played almost lights out.
Yeah, he did. That was awesome.
I mean, talking about that specifically, we heard from you yesterday, Terry. You seemed a little bit disappointed about the performance you had against Fire Strays. Going into this, you did the run back on Museum of Contemplation, the map where we had that mishap. What really changed in terms of like the preparation and strategy for you guys going into that museum matchup?
I mean, how it kind of came to it was everyone has their ideas going into like this day, because this would be our hardest match of like the whole tourney, everyone would say. So everyone would have their ideas of anything like that, and we all just sit down to one and that's kind of it. I'm not gonna say all of our ideas because,
of course,
that's a little bit shameless.
Can you tell us the idea behind the Captain America ban? That seemed to make a big difference in this series.
I mean, it's just going all the way back to Atlanta. That's my thought process. That was like originally on the first map. I like talked about it beforehand, saying in some predicament we can go lead into the cap ban, but I would like to try this ban line first, and I still think we could have easily won that map, but easily mistakes happen and anything can happen. And then going into that, I just think about what happened from prior tournaments and all that stuff and what I would do.
Well, speaking of like prior series that you guys have played, you faced off against Heretics earlier on. It didn't go the way that you wanted. We heard from, Fate in the background saying that you guys don't like playing against cheese comps, and they also struggled to get a day against Shikigami. Now, seeing that performance and the performance you guys were able to pull out here, what are your expectations going into that series?
I mean, our expectations are to beat them. I think everyone's expectations that's the result that we want. We want to go in championship done Sunday as in winners finals, nothing else. But it's gonna be way better. It's not gonna be a best of 2. Anything can happen in best of 3.
First of 2, yeah.
So yeah, same thing here. They could easily, VP could have easily won first map, and we could have been ridden out easily. That's how different first to 2 and best of 5 is.
I mean, it was amazing to see you all bounce back from yesterday. And I mean, you won, but we saw you in that interview and you knew that you had higher expectations for your team. And it sounds like you've really hit that peak. You hit that stride and you're going to come in swinging for that upper final. So big congratulations, Tara. We're all cheering you on. And thank you for the interview.
No problem. Thank you.